Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our training today. I'm really excited. My name is Cherise Matthews, and I'm excited that you've all joined us for this Sunday night training. I'm going to save my story because first I want to introduce a friend of mine who I'm so excited is on the line tonight. It's Dr. Brett Brimhall, and I'm going to let him lead this because lead the product portion of this training. Dr. B, he graduated chiropractic school in January of 2001, and he runs a holistic wellness center in Gilbert, Arizona. Now, that's kind of what he does, but let me tell you something. He is a buddy, he is a friend, he is so much fun, and he knows his stuff. He's more than just a doctor. He really, truly cares about people's health and creating wellness for not only his patients, but also the families of his patients. And I couldn't just be more excited and proud that he is on the line right now. And I've just unmuted you, Brett Brimhall. Dr. Brimhall.
I'm unmuted, huh?
Welcome to this training, and please talk to us about Nerf 1. I think that's what you're going to talk about today is Nerf 1, correct? Or Nerf 2, whatever you'd like to talk about on the product wise.
Yes.
You're frozen.
There you go, right, absolutely. You guys hear me okay? We good?
Yes, there you are.
Okay, so, sorry about my last minute glitches here. You're dealing with the doctor, so you never know what you're going to come up with. But I am super excited. You know, it's funny, last night as I was doing some research because I've got some stuff going on in my life. My kid leaves on a mission for 2 years, and he leaves Wednesday. So a lot of different things have been going through my head the last little bit. And, you know, I thought 3 years ago when I began this journey of Lifevantage, I really had no idea how many people I would meet and just the expectations that I would have of what my future looks like and the possibilities it's created in my life. So I'm actually super excited. So I've got a lot going on tonight, but I wanted to pause for a minute and just kind of go over some stuff I just recently learned. So I got this. There's a good friend of mine. He's a chiropractor. He's a chiropractic neurologist. We've been teaching this lecture series lately on neurological problems. And it's just funny. I happened to get a thing from him yesterday as I was looking at this, and he was talking about these neurological diseases that they're seeing in the elderly and they're seeing in the young generation. It's crazy to look at. And he says that there's not a good way of treating them. And he talked about three key things in it that really kind of caught my eye. He says, one, they're inflammation-based, right, which we have talked about that all the time with Lifevantage and Protandim. They're genetic-based or epigenetic, which I'm going to chat about that just in a second. And they're tied to free radicals damage. And so I'm going to hone in tonight on mitochondria. But before I do that, I want to talk just briefly genomics that we talk about in this idea of biohacking. My mom passed away in 2008, guys, from cancer. I always joke the only bad habit she had was my dad. She never smoked, she never drank, yet she developed bronchiogenic lung carcinoma, which is the cancer that typically you see in smokers, right? And so it's not what you would expect to see in somebody that would never smoke or never drank, lived a very clean life. She grew up in a small town in northern Arizona where they were directly in what they call downwinders, which is part of this process when they tested atomic weapons, that they got this blow off. Well, people that were raised in her area at the time of life where she was young had like a 300% increased risk of cancers because they were in that area. And so her genetics were actually mutated because of this exposure, but it didn't manifest until she was in her 60s. So what that means, this is the whole concept of what we talk about with nutrigenomics and epigenetics, is that we have the ability to influence our genes to express totally different outcomes. Guys, this is the beginning of science that most people aren't talking about. I was at a meeting the other night talking to this naturopathic student. She just in her last year, and I asked her, have you heard of this idea of Nerf 2? She had not. We are at the beginning of the party of this whole science, but guys, this is shaping people's lives like mine, because I didn't know what I didn't know until I was working with Carrie's son, Luke, where I realized what I didn't know became very evident. I saw him make a massive change once he started on the Axial. So that was the beginning of my journey. Now, my journey began much earlier when I watched my mom pass away, when I watched patients not get better from everything that I knew. And I've been in this field for 20 plus years. So coming back to that concept of nutrigenomics and epigenetics, we have this set of genes And then they express based upon what we do to them. So I'm going to kind of touch on Nerf 2 and Nerf 1 just a little bit because they work together, but I'm going to hone mostly on our product, Nerf 1 Pro Tandem. Guys, there are a lot of supplements out there, and I love what was talked about at the last Elite. We're talking about the science of biohacking. We're talking about the science of activation. Supplementation has been around for years. You can supplement, that's just what it is. You're supplementing a deficient diet, right? And we know that Americans have deficient diets, right? They need supplements. They need these different vitamins and minerals that are there. But what we truly need is activation. So the reason why when people look at the product Pro Tandem Nerf 2 or Nerf 1 and they look at what's in it, they're like, well, that's just similar stuff. Okay, you know what? Everybody makes bread with similar ingredients, but they don't all taste the same. Not even close. All right. And the way you put them together, the ratios you put them together are massively important in the results that you get. So when you look at Nerf 1 and you look at Nerf 2, those combinations, that's the synergy, and it's different than supplementation. So yes, you could go to the grocery store and you could get turmeric and bacopa, or in Nerf 1, quercetin or CoQ10, right? You could get these things and you could guess, but I guarantee you it's not going to do the same or taste the same, right? If you didn't know the formula. Okay, so Lifevantage has the ability, and their scientists have the ability of testing and finding out how much activation we get. So we're not guessing. It took Dr. McCord 20 plus years to develop the formula that he did, and he called it a needle in a haystack. Actually, one needle in 3 haystacks, right? So if you consider that, and then now we have the science to be able to test it. Guys, nutritional companies I've taught for 20 years, we don't have that luxury of having research centers to test through. Somehow Lifevantage with Dr. Chevreau and the other people that are involved have the ability to test that. So when you look at, we are truly activating the mitochondria. So what that means is if your mitochondria don't work, guys, these are energy producers. So you think about it, everybody turned on the light switch, we don't even think about where it comes from, right? But we definitely think about it when it doesn't work. In Arizona, it's hot, right? And if that AC doesn't work, we definitely think about it, all right? So here, take this concept. It really boils down to the simplest form. If you don't have cellular energy, okay, just like you don't have electricity in your house, you can't turn on the lights, you can't, turn on the alarm, you can't wash your clothes, you can't, do anything that involves electricity, right? So what's that mean? It means things are much slower and you do much less. So think about in the body. If your body's mitochondria can't make energy, what might happen? Everything. So we're looking at science is now looking at chronic disease, we're looking at really what they call mitochondrial dysfunction, which means the mitochondria don't work well. And they also look at this concept called mitochondrial biogenesis. What that means is the body can make new ones. So what we want to be able to do is take our mitochondria, get the ones we have to work better, and then we're going to get our body to make new ones. Everything that your body does, from think to walk to exercise to digest food, takes mitochondrial energy. All right. So what we have the ability to do with Nerf 1, we're not guessing, right? We're not guessing is if we combine CoQ10 at this ratio or quercetin at this ratio or the other nutrients that are in the Nerf 1. We're not guessing if it activates Nerf 1. We know that it does because they've done the testing behind that. All right. So you don't have to guess, right? That's what Dr. Chevreau does. She doesn't guess. She knows the science. She has the ability to test that stuff. And then they play with different things until, and I always word play, because I think she thinks it's like play. It's fun to her, right? And you listen to her talk. Guys, she's got an amazing background in what she knows. Not only she knows science, but she knows energy, right? Which is huge to combine those two. It's very unique for her to have that and for us to have her. So she already knows that it activates Nerf 1. So what happens when that occurs, guys, your mitochondria that you have right now will work better. All right, so people that you met, right, that deal with diseases or conditions, right, that no doctor can figure out, and we all have friends and family like that. They've been to 5 to 10 to 15. The most I've ever seen, guys, is 30 doctors that somebody's been to before they came to me, right? She was on 30 medications, right? Lots of medications. She was in a wheelchair. They were calling it a mitochondrial problem, but they didn't know what to do about it. Now, this was 10 years ago for me, So I knew what I knew at that time, but we weren't talking about genetics, epigenetics, and we weren't talking about activation of mitochondria. Now knowing what we know, we can take and we can turn those cellular switches. And this doctor I was just telling you about earlier, they're talking about this science of how do they test for and then target therapies to turn on intercellular communication. Now, it sounds like a kind of a cool, crazy word, but you guys know in a relationship, if there's not communications, things break down. When your body does not communicate, things break down. So we have the ability to communicate with our mitochondria, our powerhouse, to say, hey, we want to have you make more energy, but we don't want to make it on the inside of the cell. On the outside of the cell, we want it inside of the cell. Which, where do you want your money? You want it in your bank account so it can do things. So when we have the ability to turn on the mitochondria with NRF1, and we activate NRF1 with those different ingredients, right? And you look at those ingredients, they're awesome, right? But I've moved way past ingredients with Lifevantage and looking at not necessarily always what's in them, but how did they combine them and what is it activating? Because nobody else is talking about that I know of in that same way, right? So what we have the ability to do is to take NRF1 to turn on our mitochondria, all right? If we do that, your body's going to make more cellular energy, right? Your cells are going to do more, they're going to do better, okay? And they're going to basically help your body repair in ways that they have not. So is this NRF1 for people that are sick and struggling? Yes. Is this for somebody that doesn't want to be sick? Yes, right? I always say, I don't care if I never know what I don't get, right? Because I truly don't. Like I do a ton of things preventatively, and you think about what it is that we've been able to, even with what the NRF2 study Washington State, they call it the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Guys, that therapy word is what they mean for treat, right? That's crazy to think about. Therapeutic. Right, so when they're creating therapies, right, activating NRF2, and then we're talking about prevention, unbelievable. So where they're at with NRF2 is where Lifevantage is taking NRF1. And why NRF1? Because we know mitochondrial problems are linked to all these chronic conditions that medicine doesn't have good answers for. These are individuals that end up on pain medication. These are individuals that struggle with depressions and things where they don't feel good. They don't know why they feel good. So to kind of summarize nutrigenomics, activation, NRF1, NRF2 is this. Guys, when you increase cellular energy, you're going to have an increase in byproducts. Right? So when you turn on your car, you get exhaust. So when we get our mitochondria working better, you are going to have more energy. And when you and I both have more energy, we do more stuff, which means you're going to create more byproducts. So you want to absolutely make sure people do a NRF1 and NRF2 together. Right? They're hugely important to be done that way, okay? Who would benefit from NRF1? Anybody that wants to have their cells work the best they possibly can. So for me and my kids, right, and my family, it's not about just passing a class, right? That's not why we send them to school, right? It's about helping them perform their very best, right, so they can perform their best in whatever that might be for them. Right, that's what Lifevantage has done with their products. That's what they've done, in my opinion, with the business opportunity which we have. It allows us to live our best version of ourselves, not tied to the education level you're at, but tied to your passion and your ability to go to work. So guys, just the foundation, activation, NRF1 to mitochondria, NRF2 is to clean up the cell. Make sure you're combining those things. And I want you to realize how beautiful they created the activated essentials, NRF1, NRF2 ProBio. Guys, if we were doing that consistently, when I look at that helps improve 95% of the things that people are struggling with, right? So we have been, companies giving us simple, not very many products that do drastic amount of things. So that's a summary of NRF1, like activates mitochondria, turn on energy production, so your body do it need to, but you got to make sure to do the NRF2 with it, please. All right, Cherise, all yours.
Thank you so much, Brett. And this is something, like you said, we've got to put it all together. So I so appreciate you here at the company. I appreciate everything you're doing. And I know you are very busy in your life, and just to come on and jump on tonight, thank you. And I can't wait to hang out in the Bahamas with you. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It'll be fun. I have great leaders.
Thanks, Brett. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about what we have now. We're going to move from the product into the business. And what we're going to do is I want to walk you through, I got an incredible topic to talk about, and that is about telling your story. And so what I want to say is, let's face it, we are paid storytellers, aren't we? And the better the story, the more we're going to get paid. That's exactly what we do. So we have to be storytellers. So what I want to say is, make sure to get out a paper and a pen, and I want you to write this down. First of all, have you ever been in a meeting where someone has gone on and on and on about their story? And in fact, I want to pause for 1 second. I never even told you who I am and where I'm here at the company, but I am Cherise Matthews. I'm a Pro 8 with the company. I'm gonna pause and I'll come back to everything else. But I am very excited for what we have. Okay, hold on. I'm not going to tell you my story right now because I'm going to tell you in a minute. But have you ever been in a meeting where someone goes on and on and on, and then you're kind of uncomfortable for them, and you know they're uncomfortable, and it just keeps on going? I've been on both sides of that story. So what I want to help all of you tonight is to realize that we can really narrow this down. And I have some notes, so don't mind me looking down. But really, when we talk about our story, it needs to be very clear. It needs to be concise, and I want to help you get down to a 2-minute story. Now, this is going to take major preparation. We all know that it takes no preparation to talk for 30 straight minutes, but to talk for 2 minutes and be clear and concise, it takes major preparation. And so I want to help you prepare so that any moment you can tell your story at any moment when you're talking to someone, okay? So I want you to be very confident about that. So we are going to become major paid storytellers. Okay, first, you are going to have 3 stories, not just one. You are going to have a product story, you're going to have an income story, and you're going to have an event story, okay? A product story, an income story, and an event story. Now think about this. Think about a big fat Escalade. You could put all the bells and whistles on a big Cadillac Escalade. But do you think that is really going to win the race? No, it's the sleek, fast, sexy car that is going to win the race, okay? So this is what we're going to do. There are 4 rules in telling your story. Number 1, and I know Carrie Dickey's on the line tonight. This is her fast and hard rule. Rule number 1, no shaggy dog stories. The shaggy dog stories are the ones that go on and on and on, and you have no idea what just happened. That's number 1, no shaggy dog stories. Okay, number 2, you're going to be, if it's not, okay, my family just got here. My dog is barking. Pause. Wait, don't move. Come on, honey. Come on, honey. Go get him. Okay, and I'm back. There we go. So number 2, if it's not necessary to say, it's necessary not to say. We only want the seasoning to the story. We don't want the shaggy dog story. And number 3, what was it like before you came to Lifevantage or products or events? What you did, and then what it's like now. I'm going to repeat that. What it was like before, what you did, and then what it's like now. That's rule number 3. And number 4, you have to be authentic. This is not going to be somebody else's story. You're the only one that has your story. If you have ever been in a room of mothers, every single mother has their birth story, and they're all different. I can't use Carrie's birth story. I've got my own birth story. It'd be weird to be talking about Carrie having Ian. I mean, you're right. So we have our own stories. We have our own stories within Lifevantage. You have to be authentic. Let me repeat the 4 rules. Number 1, no shaggy dog stories. Number 2, if it's not necessary to say, it's necessary not to say. Number 3, what was it like before? What did you do? And what is it like now? And number 4, be authentically you. Okay, now, so my dad when we were growing up, four of us kids, my dad always said, when we would get home from a movie, Dad, we saw this movie. He said, stop. I want you to tell me in one sentence what the movie was about. And it was like, are you kidding me? One sentence? He goes, give me one sentence. Do you know how hard that is? Try it next time you see a movie. But in that, it's because you have to eliminate all the unnecessary stuff from that. Okay, so I want to go through this, and I want to, and I've got them written out on purpose, and these are very, very short 2-minute stories. Will you have a long story? Absolutely. You'll have your full story as you go through. But I have stories here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how quickly I'm going to time this one. I have my product story. I have my income story, which I have 2 of because I have 2 different stories in that. And I'm also going to talk about my event story. And I'm actually going to time them so you can see this. Okay, here we go. This is my product story. I've been an athlete my whole life. My sports were soccer, golf, long distance Ironman, and short distance sprint triathlons. I also teach fitness boot camps. I've been a fitness trainer for over 30 years. I tax my body mentally and physically. And I've always looked for ways to enhance my performance and my recovery times. When I was introduced to Nerve 2 and Nerve 1 technologies from my best friend, my results were astounding. More energy, better sleep, brain clarity, and my workout recoveries were so much quicker. Now I'm able to train harder and longer and faster because my recovery times were so quick. You know, it's been said that it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to lose it. I would only refer something that was the best because I would never want to lose my reputation in the fitness industry. I can truly say that Protandim, Nerve 2 and Nerve 1 are the best. They have validated science that works. That was there you go, Carrie Dickey, 111. 1 minute and 11 seconds. That's my product story. And that's got to flow from your mouth when someone asks, why do you take Protandim? Okay, that's the product story. Boom, let's move on. And I also have some other basics. Before I move to the next one, I have some other basic ones. I want to I put a few together that are not my product story, but it can be very simple like this. I was plagued with migraines and lack of energy. I started taking Protandim Nerve 2 Activator, or you don't even have to say the name. I started taking Nerve 2 Activation. And after 60 days, I noticed my migraines were much less frequent. Do you see how there's nothing unnecessary in that story? It's very crisp and clear. Another one, I ran out of energy at 3 p.m., especially with my kids. I drank Axio, and I now have sustainable energy to last all day, and also my mood has been enhanced. That's like a 15-second product story. Another one could be, my skin always looked dull and dry, and I started to really look my age. And about 1 month ago, I was introduced to a product called True Science. I started using the whole True Science line. And I noticed a difference right away, clearer, more hydrated, vibrant skin. Now, I'm just throwing these out there to give you an example of how to tell a product story. Now, those are clippets, but as you know, if somebody's asked you to tell a product story, make it concise. You can ease in and you can tell a little bit more, but make it very sexy and concise. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the income story. Okay, so I actually have 2 income stories. And again, I'm going to reset. I'm just going to time it just for the heck of it. And these are very quick 2-minute stories. Do I have a longer story? Absolutely. But I'm going to go for training purposes for my quick story. So here we go. Start. As a fitness trainer, I could only help one person at a time become healthier. When I took a look at the science behind Protandim, I had to share it with everybody I cared about. And now I can leave much larger footprint on human health, changing thousands of people's lives. And that's why I'm so excited. Okay, that's 22 seconds, you guys. That's a super fast income story. We're going to reset. We're going to start over, and I'm going to tell you my other income story, fast income story. Here we go. As an insurance wholesaler, I was always building someone else's dream and making my boss a lot of money and making him very successful. And I took one look at that ABC primetime, and from a friend of mine, they introduced it to me. And what I recognized in that was there was a huge potential to be first to market with something that the world had not seen yet. And now I'm building my own dream while being a stay-at-home mom. That's 31 seconds, you guys, 31 seconds on that one, okay? And you know what? You can do something else like I've given a couple other examples, and these are actual stories that I've heard, so I'm not just throwing something out there. But this is another example of an income story. Very quick, very concise. I never had the time with my family. I'm an ICU nurse. And I left early in the morning. I arrived home late at night, and a friend introduced me to this business. And what I found was that I could spend more time with my family because I'm earning residual income, and it has taught me time leverage. This has changed my life, and now I have incredible hope. Simple. Something else, being a massage therapist. Always had more months at the end of my money. Joe showed me this business opportunity through Lifevantage, and now I have an additional income stream. See, people are realizing what's in it for me. Wow, maybe after they showed me this, maybe I can have another additional income stream. Do you hear this? Let's say one more. I've got one more here. You know, I'm not really happy with my career choices I've made in the past. And my cousin sat me down and introduced me to Lifevantage. What did I write here? Oh, I'm brand new, but now I have hope and purpose for my life and to change other people's lives as well. See that hope and opportunity in that? And so I want you to really write your whole story out, and then you can cross out what's not necessary to say in that, okay? But those are examples of income or business stories. Now I want to move on to event story. You need to have an event story. And what I mean by an event story is about an Elite Academy story, about a business opportunity meeting story, whatever it may be. But find a time in your life that maybe you really didn't want to go to an event, but somebody really helped you get there. And when you got there, something happened to made you realize that you needed this. Okay, so this one is mine. I'm going to reset it. Here we go. My first event was the company put on down in San Diego, and I really didn't want to go. I'm telling you, I didn't want to take the time away from my family. It was over a weekend, and I thought, I'm going to give up my family time for this. But my best friend, Carrie, first of all, she doesn't take no for an answer, but she insisted I go and meet not only the corporate team, but also a lot of other people that had said yes to Lifevantage. And what I realized is that my cell phone doesn't work unless it's charged, and I can't work unless I'm charged, and that event charged me up. And so these events, what I realized, are so essential to have a successful business. You need to go. That was 47 seconds. Okay? So in that, it doesn't have to be big and long and a shaggy dog story, but you do have to be prepared. So I want you to prepare yourself. And you have to really enhance the process and move it forward and realize that people are always listening for what's in it for me. If you're talking on and on and on, or if you're bragging about yourself and you're going and how great you've done and what you want to do, they're thinking, really, what's in it for me? And you're teaching them how to tell their story in the middle of you telling your story in the beginning. So just to recap, I want to say we are storytellers. The better the story, the more we're going to get paid. And I'm not saying to make up the story. I'm saying be you. 4 fast, hard rules. Number 1, no shaggy dog stories. Number 2, if it's not necessary to say, it's necessary not to say. We only want the seasoning. Number 3, what was it like before? what you did and what it's like now for the better. Well, how has it changed your life for the better? And number 4, be authentically you. You're amazing. Go get this. We're signing off here from San Juan Capistrano, California. Have a fantastic evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Take care.